Hey YouTube, coming at you with a Great League team. Nope, Jungle Cup team. Skarmory, Guzzlord, Raticate. So the thought process was, um, I wanted to. I was looking at Pokemon. I was like, I know Dark is going to be better in this meta because there's not a ton of fairies in this meta. So Dark already has a pickup, and then like there's not a ton of counter users. Like Poliwrath is banned, Medi's banned. The only one who's really here is like Vigoroth as a counter user. So I'm like, what if I do like an ABB, try and draw out a counter user with like Guzzlord so that my Raticate can have more play in the back. And in general, it worked. You're going to see some issues where Guzzlord draws out like an Abomasnow because it's not like a true ABB. They have different subtypings here. So, um, but Skarmory as a flyer, Steel can deal with sort of the fairy and fighters that you get dealt with. So let's look at some battles. So terrible lead, I'll go into Guzzlord immediately. I mean, you're gonna pretty much go into Guzzlord almost immediately unless you have like an amazing lead anyways. And they're not getting out, which is kind of nice. Just makes me think that they don't have an immediate answer for Guzzlord. So I'm gonna shield because if they don't have an immediate answer, that's kind of my read. They don't. If they're staying in that long throwing resisted Incinerates, they probably don't have an immediate answer for Guzzlord. So I'm just gonna like maybe try and keep this alive. Uh, and I'm able to grab a shield here or take flip switch. So they end up shielding. Could be an earthquake, so I will now fight for switch just because Skarmory has such a bad matchup against Talonflame. They get the boosted attack, which is annoying. It is just a resisted move, but knowing that I have to take a boosted Night Slash. What is in the back? Coming with Altaria, so this is nice. Good chip here. And then they come in Talonflame. So this allows me to not, I mean, the good news is you can live a fly with Raticate because Raticate is very tanky. They flame charge me, that's fine. I'll get this crunch off. This will take out if they don't shield. I expect them to shield. Yeah. But these quick attack are adding up. And they tried to farm up a bunch, which I get. It is the fly, so the question is, what is their energy at? I'm coming Guzzlord to try and Dragon Tail down. Not enough to take it all the way down, but I am able to Steel Wing it, and now Altaria against a this Skarmory is pretty good for me. So I'm just gonna Brave Bird and good lead here. Out comes the Charjabug. Charjabug's an interesting one because weak to Electric on Skarmory, weak to X-Scissor Bug with the Darks. So this is super effective. So it's kind of tough. One does not take out, and just with the resisted, Volt Switches, I know that I can probably take this with Guzzlord. So throw one and throw the Dragon Claw. They shield, do the same thing again. This will probably take out. My IVs are sort of the only Guzzlord IVs I had. And they double shield. I am going to commit. Interesting. I know that I'm taking the resisted Volt Switches, so I could take Switch here. I am trying to fight for Switch here. I think the other option was to just like come in and quick attack with Raticate, because then I can get ahead on energy and just take out the... but it's actually good that I have alignment here. Again, you will live a fly. I think you'll even live a Brave Bird. And they flame charge, so that's fine. And I was aware that they were going to try and catch. So I could take a superpower. I want to like... I've got to take this out, but not leave the Talonflame enough farm, because that's sort of my only lose. So I'm trying to like undercharge here, but this is still going to take out because they've already superpowered. And that does not take me out, and I actually get the Brave Bird off for the win. So, sorry, one sec. So again, terrible lead into Guzzlord, which again is not an amazing answer, but it's enough to just like take the resistive Volt Switch. I did shield one because I know that they're just going to outpace me, so if they want to stay in here, I'm going to have to shield anyways. And they are still staying in, which means one of two things. They either have no answer for Guzzlord, or they have a second answer for Skarmory. And they come in Clodsire. So this is okay. They're probably just going to go for the farm down. I just want to get some chip off here so that it's just Steel Wing range. So not enough to take out, but that's fine. Like, holy smokes. Like, I know they just mud shot me down, which is not like a charge fast move you want to farm down on, but they throw the Earthquake, and I'm like, if you throw on the Earthquake, you don't have Stone Edge. You probably have Sludge Bomb. I'm at a move, so I was like, you know what? Let's just grab this last shield, because if I grab this last shield, it probably puts me in a good situation for Raticate. So I'm just going to stand here, because I'm just going to force him to throw. And then quick attack down. Willing to use a shield on the X Scissor, but just to come out with a bunch of energy. Because Raticate is bulky, and Raticate with Crunch and Return are both great moves. So shield up an X Scissor. Out comes a Charizard. I'm going to hit it with the Return, because Charizard's pretty glassy. I got to imagine that a Stab Return is going to do a ton of damage. And hello one-shot. Goodbye Charizard. I really like Raticate. I've definitely used it in open. I'll probably stay in this for a little bit and then maybe try Guzzlord. Force them to throw or something. They're not throwing, so I'm going to throw Force a Shield. The only problem is, see, now I leave myself open to problems in the back. I go for the farm down, don't get it, but that's okay. I do have shield advantage. Let's see what I come in. I may come in Raticate. Yeah, I feel like Raticate's safer, that if I'm going to see something, I want to get a bit of energy on this. And there's your Vigoroth, right? So that's the problem when you use teams like this and you don't draw it out. I'm going to chip, and then I have to come in Guzzlord because these are double super effective counters here as opposed to single here. I have to start shielding because these counters are going to start adding up too quick, so I need to shield the Body Slam here. And a Bomb Snow, right? So that is unfortunate. I do get some chip off here. See if I can get out of this one. This one's going to be tough to get out of. Can I get to the next move before they get to a move? If not, I have to commit to shielding this and getting to like 2 crunches is my play essentially. But I can't really take a move here. So I think I'm just, yeah, that's the tough part, right? You just like can't do much. When you have a fighter which takes out both in the back and a Guzzlord, not a Guzzlord, a Bomb Snow, there's not much you can do. Good matchup here. I shield up a potential Earthquake, and it is an Earthquake, which is great. I think I shield a Hydro Cannon because I definitely did not count. I remember shielding this up and it was a Hydro, and I'm just like, okay, is this I was like, that's 4 Dragon Tails. What's 4? 4 times 3 is 12. They only need, what, 7 Mud Shots to get to an Earthquake? Something like that? 7, 8. So maybe they could have got to it. I don't know. Out comes Altaria. So Guzzlord's kind of interesting. Guzzlord, like, yes, Vigoroths are everywhere. Yes, the Bomb Stones are everywhere. But Guzzlord, you resist Grass. You resist Ghost. You resist Fire. You resist Water. Right? It's a really kind of nice Pokemon from a typing perspective in this meta. Just keep it away from ice and counter users. I mean, and fairies, but there's not a ton of fairies. There's a ton of freaking Talonflames, though. Do I have a Talonflame team coming up, or did I already put that team out? I think I have a Talonflame team coming up. Talonflame is strong in this meta, but as you're going to see right here, it is very glassy. So goodbye, Talonflame. And Raticate. I love using Raticate. I always use Raticate. I use Raticate a couple times in open. It's not as strong in open because, again, you are dealing with a bunch of fighters in open and more fairies in open. So it makes it really, really tougher to run. Really, really tough to run in open. But with less fighters in this, it's a little better to run. They shield. That's okay. I will definitely shield back and keep Switch here. Keeping Switch is a must for this team. I mean, on this one anyways, because you cannot have a Wiggly face Raticate, right? So you have to align it with Skarmory. I am a Dragon and a Dark, so this will one-shot with ease. Out comes a Lantern. And this is where you're like, Lantern's so good. But like, watch this Raticate matchup. Like, the quick attacks and crunches come very quick. I'm going to shield up 1 just because I know that Skarmory will absolutely destroy Wiggly, so I don't need to worry about shields there. I need to get rid of this Lantern. And I'm looking at my switch timer, and I'm like, I know it's coming up. I know they're going to try and catch a crunch on their Wiggly, but I'm like, it's not up quite yet. And I made that switch pretty quick, so they're probably still switch locked, so I can throw this. Take that out. Behind on energy, A-Rat takes that Lantern, right? I really like using that Pokemon. You don't get times to use it much. Clodsire, again, this is one where, yes, I need to try and draw out like a Vigoroth and something. But man, a Clodsire against a Skarmory is such a good matchup. So I'll be interested to see if I throw like a Brave Bird and something and then bail, or just a Sky Attack and bail. That's not a bad idea. Save some energy. Chip this enough that it's just like Dragon Tail range, essentially. There's your Abomasnow. And again, Abomasnow's tough, but with energy advantage, these Dragon Tails add up and this crunch would really hurt. So I might grab a shield here, which is not a bad situation to be in, right? Because then I could just come in and steal Wing Skarmory and come out with energy. Icy Wind. So I mentioned in my video yesterday afternoon with Abomasnow, I was like, oh, I don't know about the 6-6-5-6 versus like 5-4-5-4. It just makes more sense to stay with Weather Ball because Abomasnow's so glassy, you need it for this. I would say that like 70% of the Abomasnows I go against, this is tough. I would say 70% of the Abomasnows I go against have Icy Wind on it. And man, when they lower your attack, it really becomes an uncomfortable matchup. So I get why it's trickier to use that. Because Abomasnow is so glassy, and just taking like an extra 1 fast move and then 2 fast moves, and then I think it's even, and then it's like 2 fast moves. So you're doing like an extra 5 fast moves for 4 charge moves, which is a lot. But you know, the trade-off is lowering your opponent's attack. It really adds up there. Get to a move. CMP. Who wins CMP? Vigoroth wins CMP. That will be taken out there. Mantine. I'll probably get it right away. Yeah. Even though Wing Attack is resisted too on Skarmory. Again, they don't have an immediate... It's interesting how... Because again, if you don't have a counter user, there's not... Like, let me just like open up PV Poke and look up all the sort of like counter users and Ice and Fairy that is in this meta. So, Jungle Cup, Ice, you have Abomasnow, and then the next one is Pillow-Swine, Mamoswine, Articuno. So you're realistically not using those. So Ice, the only thing you need to worry about is Abomasnow, quite honestly. Fighting, there are a few fighters, Scrafty, Toxicroak, Buzzhole, and then with the counter user in Vigoroth and Obstagoon. So there's a few. It's mostly I haven't seen a Scrafty, I haven't seen an Obstagoon. I've seen one Scrafty, no Obstagoons. So it's just really Vigoroth you need to deal with. And then Fairy, Whimsicott, and Wiggly. And then Togetic you're not really using into Dedenne. Unless you're Ryan Swag, you're not using Dedenne. Right? So really, with Guzzlord, Steels are a bit tough because Steels can resist your Dragon Tails, but you will hit neutral with Crunch on all these. So it's not terrible from that perspective. But Skarmory, Steelix, and then Ice-Shell, which I showcased, and Togedemaru, which I showcased. So what's that, like 5 or 6 Pokemon that you need to worry about if you're Guzzlord? Which makes it feel somewhat safe. Because Guzzlord, if you have Guzzlord, which is ranked 12, like my IVs aren't good, it's ranked 12 in Jungle Cup. If you have a one-on-one matchup with Vigoroth in the one shield, you lose. That makes sense. But if you have a Dragon Tail advantage, if you use this as a safe swap and have a Dragon Tail advantage, you get the second Dragon Claw off, which puts Vigoroth down to 15 HP. So you lose. I think you would need two extra. How many extra Dragon Claws would you need to take this out? 2. With, I'm guessing, is that optimal IVs or just whatever IVs? Those are just whatever IVs. So with whatever IVs, again, not optimal. If you get 2 Dragon Tails extra, you can like theoretically flip Vigoroth in the one shield. Of course, they could just double shield and take it anyways, but yeah, it's kind of a sneaky Pokemon to use. I used Mandibuzz earlier. I have Umbreon coming up on a team too. I really think the Darks have a pretty good role here right now. Just for the reasons that I just went over with the Pokemon that are not in this meta. Or I guess the only ones that are in this meta are somewhat limited to take out the Darks. Tough in the fact that all my fast moves are resisted here. Steel Wing, Dragon Tails, Quick Attack, all resisted. Again, it doesn't take a lot to get to the crunch. I would have definitely shielded an Earthquake if I... The amount of Steelix running Earthquake is probably pretty low. So I'm not... That was just kind of an unlucky that they had it. But even so, live an Earthquake with these. Got 2 crunches off with these to take that there. And then Mantine. Again, I'll probably get out here immediately. Let's see if they have an answer for this. Oh, looks like they lagged a bit. And eventually caught on a Vigoroth. So they did have an answer. It looks like they just kind of lagged a bit there. I will say, you're going to see my top teams video on Friday. We'll just go over all these teams that I used. And rightfully so. I think I started this meta at 2250, somewhere around there. I mentioned in my video yesterday, oh, I'm approaching Veteran. I blew through Veteran. I'm at 2650 right now. So we're looking at like 400 plus. We're looking at 400 plus ELO. I shouldn't even showcase this battle because my opponents are having a lot of issues here. Yeah, we're looking at like 400 plus ELO in Jungle Cup so far. With a lot of unique Pokemon, right? I've used Vigoroth once. I think with what I'm going to have is Saturday, Sunday, 2 Monday. I've got at least 2 more teams. So I've used like 6, maybe 7 teams. I don't think I've used any Pokemon twice yet. Maybe Sableye when I did like the half and half there for that one time. But yeah, for the most part, it is just straight unique Pokemon, unique teams, all doing super strong. And it's, I think, a testament to the flexibility you have in this meta when some of the staples are not here. I can easily, I have a shield, but I can easily take an Ice Beam here. I'm going to save it in case I throw a Brave Bird. Brave Bird should take out from here, though. But I will take another move with these. Brave Bird takes it out. So yeah, that's a team. Again, the strengths of this team. The strength of this team is just understanding the meta, right? Understand that there are like 7 or 8 counter users, but realistically you're seeing Vigoroth and maybe like Toxicroak to answer Vigoroth. So you're not seeing a ton of counter users. There's like 1 or 2 fairies that you're not seeing a ton of. There's like 1 ice Pokemon in Abomasnow. So from that, like if you take all that in consideration, you really only need to watch out for like 4 or 5 Pokemon with Guzzlord, which makes it a very, very strong Pokemon. And same thing with Raticate, right? You don't even have the ice weakness there. You have the double the fighting weakness, but you don't have the ice weakness there. So the strong Pokemon. I really liked the team, despite this being a team that I generally said I do not like the style of these types of teams, where you have to like switch into a Guzzlord eventually to try and draw out a Pokemon. So I don't love these teams, but Yeah, it worked decently. Anyways, that is it. There'll probably be a video this afternoon. I'm a bit behind, so I don't know if I'll have time, but hopefully a video this afternoon. So stay tuned maybe for that. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.